Okay, let's go.
Alright,
So-
are we dead?
No. Would you shut up for 2 seconds so I can talk?
Alright, that was a good 2 seconds out of me. So,
Yeah, I was blowing my nose. Because I was expecting facetious comments.
I would never.
So at the end of last session, y'all had a bit of a tussle and some disagreements party-wide before the brave dwarf, or at least we'll call him brave in this scenario, Grimly,
Yes, Ichijai.
slammed himself into the Ogham Stone enough times after digging up underneath it that the big major stone in the center has collapsed and fallen over, and we ended on that cliffhanger. So here we go.
Anna's not here yet.
I'm logging.
Oh, there she is.
I'm an oblivious suburban lady, and I work slow with computers.
It's okay, you just need to listen for this part. Anyway, so the stone comes crashing down, and thankfully it fell the correct direction, and none of you are standing ominously beneath it. So none of you get crushed, and as it slams onto the ground, a couple of moments pass by, and then all of you have this strange feeling of like a weight coming off your shoulders, and you notice the fog gets lighter and lighter until it gently rolls away with the wind and completely dissipates.
Oh my goodness!
You okay?
Darling, what have you done? I
was gonna say, if you're gonna keep up that voice for the whole session, I wish you luck.
Oh, I can absolutely keep my Susan voice as long as it is needed for the manager to observe that there are certain. What do we see though that the fog lifted?
You see dirt.
Could I waddle forward and explore the pit, which I assume is there now that the obelisk has been pushed over?
Yeah, just a reminder for everyone from last session. Oh, also I should say, just because I forgot that I just started the recording a little bit ago, the halfling at the sight of the obelisk beginning to topple over just completely and utterly passed out from dreadful fright at what he assumed was an impending boss fight or something worse. Therefore, he has been knocked unconscious as he bumps his head on one of the steps leading up, and he will not be participating in this session because, in truth, the genius behind him is ill.
Now we can do things with the halfling.
Yeah,
Oh,
within
Jesus.
reason. Moving on.
Within reason. Are is bonded within reason?
Moving on.
So inspecting the tomb or the
Yeah,
obelisk.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's sort of, I was going to say that too. If you remember, just a refresher for everyone from last time, the stone did depict that there was something or someone buried beneath it. Y'all were able to put that together. So yes, there is a grave potentially down there. There should be one.
Well, let's.
Can I see? Have the Woods of Magic changed from that area? Because I knew that I could see the dark magic.
Yep, it's completely dissipated.
It's gone.
That's right, Elf.
Dwarf, you don't know
your,
that.
you and your petchy superstition.
You don't know that. You don't know that the dark
Goodness
magic's gone.
gracious. Can I pull off a perception check looking into the grave?
It's just a mound of dirt. You'll have to actually like look in, like do some further digging and look around a bit to find anything.
Can I put my plumpy head into the moved soil?
You could, but you would not be able to see any more than if you stuck your face into a pile of mud.
Well, I will. What if I put my hand in there?
You could, but that would count as searching around.
So we still have a shovel with which we were digging, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So is there like space to continue to dig, or
Sure.
is it just kind of like a hollow?
So because you're clearly looking for something, you're trying to guess where something is buried in this just colossal mound of dirt. And you have no idea how far down it is, you have no idea where it is, or if it's even still there. So the way we're going to do this is that there are different kinds of checks you could take,
Okay.
but based on the kinds of characters y'all have, the only one that's relevant to your party is an intuition check. So one of you may take an intuition check to try and find something buried in here. Now, the rest of you, if you would like, can do what's called, you can provide an assist. Now, the way assisting works in this game is if someone's trying to accomplish something that clearly others could help with, like picking up something really heavy, or trying to push something over, or looking around the room for some kind of hidden mechanism, or digging in a pile of dirt, if you have the skill that y'all are going to be rolling for, if you have at least one advance in it, so you're trained in it, then you may assist the player who's rolling. And whoever is rolling will get plus 10% to their check for every single person assisting.
Help me.
So generally, the best thing to do would be figure out intuition is a basic skill, so all of you can attempt it, but your goal is to figure out who has the highest intuition, and then figure out who among you can support them.
Okay.
Well, it's obvious that my intuition is the highest because I'm the only lady in that party.
What's your intuition?
It measures up to 61, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
That's pretty high.
No arguments here.
Jesus. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was like, I thought I was pretty high.
I knew I wasn't high at all. But...
So I assume
You're lacking that feminine touch.
the mage and the horse master need to be closer to assist, correct?
Not necessarily. I mean, yes, but they can't assist unless they have at least one advance in intuition.
Fair play. Okay.
Okay, so how many advances do you have, guys?
No.
Ponzo?
I don't have any advances. I don't think. Or no, yes I do. I have lots. I have 5 advances.
Okay, so Pone can help you. Nobody else can. I went ahead and checked everybody's sheets.
All right, let's
And
do it.
that basically represents that Susan and Ulrivis have a good natural sense of where to look, while the rest of you are just stumbling around like idiots. You're technically helping. You're just not actually helping in a meaningful way.
That's
so
perfect.
You guys are helping the way Wookiee helps. He's just tumbling. Like,
Susan, you
graceful.
will, and everyone, by the way, make sure to change in the chat in the bottom right. Make sure you change it so that it's your character, not you. But in any event, Susan, whenever you're ready, you can roll a
You did it wrong.
challenging intuition check. And that means just it's you don't get any bonuses except for Pone, so you get plus 10%. Also, fun fact, on this system, if y'all want, if I'm ever in the middle of dealing with someone and y'all want to have your characters talk to each other, that's fine. If you can use quotation marks, if you remember. And if you ever want to emote your character, you can just do /em space and then say whatever it is your character's doing. Some people like to do that to screw around while people are busy. Yeah, just like that. Thanks, Anna.
Okay, so does Pawns help?
Yeah.
Pawns help change my modifier, or?
Yes. So you'll enter a 10. You're at plus 10 for this check.
It appears that the magic has dissipated. Interesting.
Tweeting. Holy shit.
Ooh.
Not so great.
Hard knock life.
If you want,
I'm just still so unnerved. I can't.
if you want, you can try and fortune point it, unless you don't have any fortune points or whatever.
Fortune. I have 1. Oh hell, let's do it.
Ignore.
There just seems to be nothing going on.
Pone, you don't get to roll.
Oh.
You're assisting. You're assisting. That is your roll.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm using my fortune point. So
Yes.
I just roll again.
So you
or...
just roll it again, once again with the plus 10.
Cross your fingers or whatever you have, all of you.
Okay, not bad. So you got 3 success levels. All right. So, you start digging, and all of the others are kind of helping you out as y'all just sort of leave the halfling in the back where he's safe but out of the way. And as you're digging, it takes pretty much the rest of the day. not the rest of the day, but it's getting close to dusk as you start making progress. And as you're digging, Thulgrim shows up, and he kind of approaches from behind. You hear him approaching, and he's grumbling under his breath about this or that. And as he's approaching, Susan, you find a trinket, essentially.
Goodness gracious! How does it
So,
look?
and it's gold, by the way. You find a golden trinket, not just any.
My eyes will bulge at the sight of gold.
Now, Susan, if you would like,
Dwarven poetry.
if you would like, you can. If you have some form of sleight of hand, you can try to hide it as Thulgrim walks up behind you guys. But otherwise, he is going to see it, and his reaction, who knows what it could be.
Well, I'm gonna try to hide it. Quickly
Okay.
now.
How are you going to try and hide it?
Sleight of hand.
Do you have sleight of hand?
I'm just gonna shove it in my underwear.
Do you have sleight of hand?
Yes.
Okay, roll it.
I guess I just trip over my own leg trying to shove the trinket down my G-strings, but...
Nope, that's actually good enough. All right, so you
Alright.
definitely slip a piece, a golden, a few golden torques into whatever place you manage to fit them without them sticking out bulgingly. And Thulgrim approaches from behind and goes, "Just came to see how the work was going. So you got the main one down."
Well,
Go talk to him, honey.
I will greet the dwarf and say, "Aye, we got the first one down. We'll be working on the rest soon."
All right, he nods and looks around, and he kind of frowns for a moment. He says, "Why are you lot digging here?"
You cut out there for a moment. Could you repeat
Oh,
that?
sorry. He looks at the lot of you and he says, "Why are you lot digging here?"
We had to dig under the base to uproot the obelisk.
Exactly.
Master
That's
Dwarf.
He nods slowly and says, I imagine, but as I was walking up the steps past the..." And he looks behind and says, "useful halfling back there. It seems like you lot have been digging for at least as long as I could see you, and the obelisk has already been down."
Master Dwarf, we were just making sure that there is absolutely nothing menacing underneath it, since Mr. Elf here, he sensed really foul magic underneath it. We had to make sure that everyone will be safe.
Yes, there appears to have been some dark magic with underneath the structure, but as it was uprooted, it has vanished. It was quite fascinating.
He snaps at the elf and says, "Keep your superstitious crap behind your lying teeth. Quit wasting the time. Get the rest of these stones down or you're not getting paid."
You watch it, Dwarf.
He glowers at you, Susan. He says, "I'm not the one who needs watching here, elf."
That's just he just says elf so harshly.
What was
Well, I
that
will-
supposed to mean anyway?
You would be a fool, dwarf, to ignore the winds of magic. I know your kind do not see it, but it exists nonetheless.
He turns his attention back to you, Ulrivus, and he says, "Oh, we're quite aware it exists, lad. We're just know not to mess with things we can't control properly, unlike your idiotic ancestors and your lot. Magic has no effect on dwarves. It's an unreliable source. You shouldn't, and studying it or trying to use it, like I imagine you were, that's the only reason you were digging, wasn't it?"
Aye, this cursed high elf attempted sorcery on me as I was digging up.
Wait, what?
The Thulgrim pauses at this, and his hand sort of instinctually goes down to a hammer hanging from his belt, And he gives you kind of a confused look, and he goes, "And why is he still standing without... why is he still standing with all his blood in him, then?"
Before any further words are uttered, I step in and charmingly, if you know what I mean, Sotek, tell Master Dwarf, I'm pretty sure that you have more important business to attend to back in the camp, since you seem to run the thing so smooth, and we shall just uproot the rest of the stones, and we will be back in no time. In no time.
Okay. Roll a charm check.
Any modifier?
Not that I'm going to express.
He just can't resist.
He glowers at the elf some more, and before he sort of sniffs, and he audibly clears his throat and spits in the elf's direction, both of you, before sort of shoring up his work shirt and says, "Fine, just make sure you get your work done, or else we don't have the money to throw around to people who do half jobs." And he will nod only to Grimly before muttering under his breath about the hiring principles of manlings, and walks his way back to camp.
God damn it, but I was so charming.
You did. You charmed him. He was like ready to go fisticuffs, and then now he just left and is going to pay us. So
Yeah, it's only thanks to me that this fellowship is still together.
I was trying to pit him. I was trying to pit him against Pone, but it
All
didn't
right,
work.
Anna, since
It was close.
since the dwarf is no longer lingering over your shoulder, you have discovered a cracked open sarcophagus, where you found the golden torques that you have deftly stuffed into various pieces of clothing.
And there's no winds of magic coming from it?
Nope. Dead as a doornail.
Wait, so we're looking at the trinket now?
You can look in the sarcophagus now if you want to see.
There's a sarcophagus under the obelisk where you found the trinket.
Yeah.
And it's cracked open.
You found add to your inventory. You found 6 golden torques.
So you got to go to your character card inventory. Do they weigh a certain amount? Like, is there any encumbrance?
No, encumbrance is 0 unless you're like trying to hold them.
Okay.
I sense no magic coming from this. Interesting to see what is inside. Master Wolf, if you would do the honors.
Aye, clearly your superstition was false. Let us find out what be in this tomb. And
Hey,
I will
can we-
approach it
hey,
with the shovel.
Can we examine it first? Like roll perception, see.
You could, but there's enough light now that the fog has rolled away that you can peer in pretty easily. It looks like your efforts, like somebody may have accidentally struck it with the shovel, and it's so old that the sarcophagus, either over time or from the way somebody hit it, has just crumbled away for the most part. And other than the torques, there are some random bits of like really ancient cloth, and you see some hair, and there's some bones, but even the bones have already started to sort of rot away due to how damp the earth here is, and there doesn't seem to be anything else of value.
Okay, is that a human skeleton?
No, it is distinctly not human.
Is there any markings on the cloth, or is it just like super old?
No, it's like if you try and pick it up, it basically falls apart in your hands.
Falls to dust, yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, how does the skeleton look?
Old.
Oh,
Well, I suggest we knock over the other obelisks and get our gold.
Maybe.
I must agree with the dwarf here now.
I-
Seems that anything interesting seems to have gone away. How unfortunate.
So what's underneath this? Like, just a sarcophagus?
Yep.
That's cracked open?
You should whip it, Gojira.
Whip.
Whip the corpse.
The mighty
I
whip
guess-
of Gojira who
See what's in that
shatters
little
obelisk.
crack over there. I'll just whip the crack in the sarcophagus.
Well, and none of us knows anything about the trinkets that we dug up.
It looks like whatever is in there potentially wore them at some point, but they're very crudely made. Their only value seems to be in that they're gold, unless you found somebody who may be interested in them for other reasons. But that would be
It's
difficult
gold.
to imagine. It's gold, though.
Yeah,
If
it's
only you let
it's
me
currency.
know there's a necromancer.
What race is that skeleton? I'm actually interested
Right.
in the local history. Okay.
So can I whip this? Can
You
I
could
whip
you
this?
could roll a history of Uberstrike check if you had it.
God damn it!
All right, I'm gonna
Oh, I
whip
got
it. I'm gonna whip it.
You're
Okay,
gonna
good.
whip the sarcophagus?
I'm gonna whip
He's gonna
the
whip the
crack in the
corpse.
sarcophagus. Yeah, I'm gonna whip the corpse.
With true intentions coming to light.
All right, Simon Belmont, calm down.
Critical success.
What a awesome waste of a roll. All
I
right,
always get critical
Good,
successes.
good.
you snap your whip into the sarcophagus, and as it touches the skeleton, it explodes into just a large cloud of bone dust that leaves you all coughing and retching as age-old dust that hasn't probably touched the air in centuries, if not longer, is thrown into your lungs.
What the point of that, human?
A bit fruity tasting, but
Can we toss the halfling into the sarcophagus?
No. All right. Who's all helping remove the stones?
I shall.
You have my axe.
All right. Everyone who helps remove the stones, if all of you help, you can have it done
Yeah.
before, just before. Like it'll be dark when you get back to camp.
Let's do it. Let's
Yep.
do it. Let's go, team. Do this
So
shit.
long as I can't see any winds of magic around them.
No.
I'm cool with just doing stuff.
Anna, are you helping as well?
Oh yeah.
All right. Even with your uncomfortable gold bulges.
What?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, so all the stones get knocked over. Pretty straightforward. All four of you need to take a challenging, which means plus nothing. All of you need to take an endurance check. If you have fatigue, you don't need to take it because you're already fatigued.
Okay, great.
Well. So that's
Or
what
you're fine. It's
So
just the elf.
It's just the elf. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're good.
My one, no!
You feel elated that you didn't accidentally have to fight some horrible monstrous beast thanks to the dwarf's stupidity. And seeing that dark
the dwarf's
magic
wisdom.
seeing that dark magic
Wisdom.
dissipated
Wisdom.
has provided you with some strangely strong energy, and you just feel really, really good and manage to knock down 3 of the stones before anyone else manages to finish theirs. It's a great day to be you. All right.
Great.
It seems you're falling behind, dwarf. Trying
Should
to
we
keep
head-
pace.
Yep.
I told you-
You can head back now.
Superstition.
I really have to ask, how do you keep your hair and skin so fresh, Master Elf, even after the whole day of digging?
Well, I wasn't born. I wasn't born with a birth defect of being a small elf.
Oh, mean.
oh,
Oh.
Fight.
Turn!
sorry.
Stop it!
I'm not wrong though.
So we head back to
She
the village.
clearly has some sort of birth defect.
Come, let us go collect our coin.
Pone, you are
Me.
casually. Yeah, by all means, Pone, insult the person with the gold. All right, you all go back to camp.
Damn.
All right.
Anna, I will warn you, just because y'all are new to this world. Having gold is very, very rare, and it would be very wise of you not to let anybody know you have it, or bad things may happen.
Oh, nobody will know.
We'll see. All right.
Be sure to tell Sparty that she has gold, by the way.
So as you all, well, no, Spartacus doesn't know.
He doesn't know. He's passed out.
He's knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
Unless one of you expressly tells him, he will not know.
So wait, dude, did we just leave him back there? Just
No,
not-
I teleported him back to camp. All right, I used a Hearthstone. Anyway, so as you arrive in the camp, you notice that there's kind of everyone seems a lot like, I wouldn't say happier, but everyone seems to be working better, and you notice things are getting done, and the camp doesn't seem like a C movie horror flick anymore. It's not great, but it kind of has like a pleasantness to it that definitely was not there before. I mean, the eerie fog being gone certainly helps, but everything just kind of seems lighter. But as you come into camp, word quickly spreads around that you have all returned, and the Stragani are very, very quick to sort of surround the lot of you, and they seem, from what you can gather from the various smatterings of their harsh accent that you can understand, they seem very, very impressed that y'all managed to take care of the whole Ogham Stone situation without needing any further help, and you even took down the large stone. Their people refused to go near it.
You're all welcome. The High Elf tried to stop me, but we made it happen.
And the cooks here have finished making dinner, and they invite y'all to have some in recognition of your deeds for free.
Sounds good. Feast.
As much as I hate to admit it, the dwarf was actually right, though I don't agree with his methods.
And more slip cracks in half.
Although I would like to add that the High Elf was a really huge obstruction, and he kept delaying us, and I really think he doesn't deserve anything for that.
If I'm not mistaken, Asrai, I do believe that you agreed with me.
Darling, do you remember anything like that? Because I think he just kept jittering and delaying us.
What do you remember, honest dwarf?
Being exhausted and fatigued from lifting the obelisk and licking an old morsel of food out of my beard, I would like to approach the dwarf to the north and ask for payment.
Thulgrim nods and says, you'll get your payment soon enough. I have to go talk with Rooter, and once I'm about some business, and once we're done talking, we'll get you paid. Go finish your dinner.
Sounds good.
And all of you get to enjoy some bowls of peppery meat stew. Despite the fact it's cooked by Stragani, it's actually not too bad.
So do we add it?
2 meals, one now and one later.
Does that give us any attributes like well fed, like it cures our fatigue or anything like that? Or
no, you're just not starving.
Okay. So we eat the dinner. Is there anything part of that, or do we just move on from there?
It's a very delightful dinner, which is the first that you felt at all. And after eating, the Stragani actually gather around the center of camp, and they seem, with how upbeat they are, they quickly set about setting up a large bonfire in the center of the camp, and a night of singing and dancing commences as they sort of honor their traditions, thank their ancestors for how things are going. And Raiko, in a surprisingly good mood, easily the best mood you all have seen him since you saved his grandmother, invites you all to join if you'd like.
Yes, indeed.
Why not? Why not?
You know, Susan is a fine singer, renowned in all of the lands for her beautiful melodies. Why don't you sing for them, darling?
Should I?
Yes, perhaps.
Yeah, the Stragani seem very interested in hearing you sing.
Oh, marvelous.
Does she have to roll? Does she roll to entertain? Is that a thing?
Yep.
Entertain singing, so... Wait, what? Do I really have to sing?
No, you actually just take a roll.
You can roll it. If you choose to actually sing, I would give you a substantial bonus to your check.
Baby,
unless, it was terrible.
Your work.
Never made it as a wise man.
Orlovis joins in. He knows the song.
A fumbling failure.
Oh dear.
They don't like me. Come back.
All right, Susan.
I laughed at her hilarious attempt at singing.
Wait. Susan takes a deep breath, and as she starts to sing, it becomes horribly, horribly apparent that more than likely the elves of the wood, the Azrae, as some are called, perhaps learned their singing from some unconventional animals, where some might think songbirds or the beautiful sounds of nature naturally occurring.
Give me a bonus.
It seems to be more inspired by, like, toads and other hissing amphibians that live in the swamps of some parts of Athel Loren, and the Strigani are duly disturbed. They're not ugly about it, and they politely applaud, but it kills the mood for a good 30 minutes.
I look over at Meezer and say, I should have known that an Asrai that would marry a Dowie would sound something like this.
That was beautiful, honey.
Thank you.
Okay,
Susan, you blame it on the bone dust that the human oh so generously threw a heaping of.
My golden horse, it usually sound like the morning birds and what have you, but this stupid. Oh, where did that human go? He, as always, he disappears. Will you imagine it? He just kicked the dust with his stupid whip, and I just can't. I'm so raw and vulnerable right now.
As Susan crumples on Crisis, the Strigani studiously avoid her for the rest of the evening. But other than that, things go by without too many great issues.
Okay.
As the night starts to wander on, Thulgrim comes stomping into the camp, and he looks a little...
Should we pause?
Oh, yes, I just now saw it. Pause!
Well, did it
rolled within the 100.
Anyway,
Sotek just screwed me over.
alright, we're back in session now.
It's time.
What was I talking about before we took a break?
You said something as the night... You said
Oh,
as
right,
the
now I
night
remember.
advances. Yeah.
Right. So, Thulgrim walks into camp, and he's clearly, a little irritated looking. He looks a little flushed, a little annoyed, and you could see him just sort of glancing around.
Okay. I'll approach him and in Kazalid ask him, what ails you?
He motions for you to follow him, and sort of approaches the fire, and he looks around and loudly says something. He loudly says, "Has anybody seen Rooter? Can't find the daft manling anywhere." And there's a bit of everyone kind of quiets down for a minute. There's a lot of shaking heads and shrugs and non-committal answers. No one seems to know where he is. What are you doing?
What about the lady boss?
He's right there.
No, that's Raiko, you dummy.
Raiko.
Oh.
That's the other guy with an R.
Damn it.
I say we form a searching party and find the manling.
But what about the lady boss? Has she seen him? Where is she?
He jerks his thumb at her wagon and says, "She's in her wagon," and he holds up a key and he says, "I got her key so I can pay you a lot for your work today. But if you can't find Rooter, you don't get paid."
Oh, good.
So,
We need his key to open the chest.
Well, then we better go and look for him.
He nods and says, "You lot can check further around here in camp. I've just been asking around. I'll look outside."
so he's looking outside the dwarf?
Yeah, he's just walking around camp asking anybody if they've seen him, because he could literally be anywhere in camp.
And he stated we should head outside the camp to look?
No, he said y'all should look around.
So how many stones did
Where
we
do you
bring
think he
back?
is? Y'all, none. Y'all, you cannot. Yeah, no, none of y'all are picking those things up. You just knocked them over.
Perception check.
Someone else is going to take care of them.
I feel like the dwarf could just carry one by himself.
You would be wrong.
Caesar,
Rip
check the
Dolly.
stables.
Eh.
Go ask the horses if they've seen anything.
Well,
Milan,
Man, what have you
as
seen?
as you approach the stable, you see a Strigani, and he clearly sits up as if he's been warned about you by someone.
Whoa, that would be weird. I just kind of like, I take my hat and kind of tilt it downwards. Just kind of like
So you
walk
tip your
around
fedora?
him. Yeah, I tip. God.
My lord.
had the horses.
Milady, I do to the horse.
So can we just like say that as a party we sweep the camp, or do we need to like methodically go through each
You
one?
can. I mean, unless there's any particular place y'all would like to investigate.
I would like
Who's
to go and ask that rude bitch.
Okay.
Well,
Remember, she's your boss.
Jesus, I don't think you understand how that works between us girls, okay? So I knock on her stupid,
Are you breaking the fourth wall right now? What is happening?
What?
I said, are you breaking the fourth? Your character is addressing me. I don't exist.
Well, I address the omnipotent voice in my head.
You're schizophrenic now. I'm sorry.
Whose tent was this up here?
So that tent is. This is okay. This is the wagon where
Where the lady boss is.
That's where Stiegler is. This is Reuter's tent, and this is Thulgrim's tent.
And we're looking for Reuter.
You are looking for Reuter.
Cool. That's where I'm checking.
All right. Anybody else want to check anything different or go with Pone?
I'll just walk around the south side of the camp.
I
Okay.
would like to get the boss lady to talk to me.
Okay. We'll start with you, Anna. Do you just want to bang on the door?
I would like to gently knock, with all due respect.
All right. There's not a response. If you knock politely, there is no response.
Well, I should knock a little louder and be like, "Excuse me, Miss, what was her name?"
Stiegler.
Like-
Stiegler.
Like Steven Seagal?
No. Stiegler.
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 There's a
Lady
T in there.
Lady Steeler, there appears to be a missing party. We're very concerned. Can you please come out?
Her door does swing open, and she sticks her head out. She has a very not thrilled look on her face, but she doesn't look as angry as the last time you talked to her. And she goes, "What?"
Okay, charmingly, I say, Master Ruder is missing, and we performed all the tasks that he asked of us, but even more, as our friend and companion, he just disappeared. We can't seem to find him, and Master Dwarf is absolutely out of his mind worried. Do you think you can lend a hand?
She sighs audibly. She goes, Yes, I'll get my coat. She goes, just check around. Reuter likes to. You don't need to roll in this instance. I'll let you know when you need to roll. Johanna, she rolls her eyes and she just says, sometimes he goes to bed early, or God forbid has wandered out of camp again, or maybe he's just run away, seeing as he's a gutless wrench that doesn't seem to have any mind for business, and his family is a drain on mine.
Wait, Johanna, what do you mean? He wandered away again.
She holds up a hand. She says, I said maybe. Let's just look around and see if we can find him.
Right.
She closes her door, and as she's closing it, she says, I'll be out there to help look in a minute.
Do I see anything peculiar inside her wagon as she closes the doors?
Nothing I would describe as peculiar, just a lot of, it's a fairly nice wagon. You can see that she keeps a moderately, fairly organized space. She seems like someone who's rather nitpicky and a little bit overstrained, probably about small things. You see various hats and coats and, a place for clothes to hang, and what looks like probably the nicest bed you've seen in the camp, but nothing that I would describe as irregular or off-putting.
Well, in that case, I hurry back. Where's my old man? I hurry back to tell him that Johanna, darling, she mentioned that this weirdo just wanders out of the camp from time to time, and also she mentioned something about his family being a drain on hers. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some family feud involved.
Okay. Yeah, I'll nod and acknowledge what she said and say, let us check in with the Elgi scum and see if he's found anything.
All right, Pone, we'll jump over to you, though none of y'all have caught up with him yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let him do his thing.
I don't knock or anything because it's just a tent, so I just go right on in.
All right.
You're still down here with me, Anna.
Yeah, I'll let you know when you catch up to him. All right, you barge into the tent, and you do not see him.
Shock his bed.
I look around to see if there's anything that would have given any sort of clue to a whereabouts. If he left a note or anything seems out of place.
Okay, you just kind of want to look around.
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't take too long for you, as you're sort of looking around, as you're looking around the back of his tent, you can see that a side of it has been pulled up, and the grass behind his tent is oddly very flattened. And
Check
it's a
for traps.
trail leading off into the woods.
Okay. I just turn around and go back towards I go out to go find the dwarf dude, this guy.
Okay. Well, you Thulgrim's not there. He's just sort of wandering around.
Sure. I go off to go try and find Thor.
All right. As you walk out of the tent, the rest of your party members, those of whom are looking for you, catch up to you.
It is I, Grimly.
Well, did you find anything?
It would appear that he has ducked out of his tent and gone into the woods.
Just like she told me. So, listen, Elf, they might have some family feud with Johanna, but it definitely doesn't look like he just wandered away. I'd say there is some foul play involved.
Pone, I will note that it does not look like he walked away. It looked like the grass was so... Whatever mowed down the grass was dragging something.
Okay.
So does Pone tell us this information?
That's up to him.
Pone.
There appeared to have been something suspicious that could have possibly come from the woods.
Well, then what are we waiting for? Let us pursue.
Well, shouldn't we
Well,
tell...
it's not our job to pursue dwarf.
If we don't find him, we don't get paid, Elgie.
We should tell Thulgrim so that way we can have a larger party go out and search for him.
Okay, you want to go tell him?
Yeah.
Gojira, what are you doing?
Huh? What?
What is your character doing?
I'm just inspecting the ground.
All right, being useful. Okay, cool. Just making sure. All right.
You just wait for an inanimate object to appear, he'll destroy it.
He's nowhere muscle.
Critically. I will critically destroy it.
All right, well, let's swing by Master Fulgrim and tell him. We can't just wander away as well.
All right, if y'all want, you can find him at the head of the camp.
How convenient. Right.
Well, darling, it's best that
Wake
you...
up, guys. I was just watching.
Let me talk to the dwarf. Master Dwarf, we saw signs of a struggle in the tent, and it would appear he was dragged into the forest. We would like to request your aid in pursuit.
Thulgrim raises an eyebrow and he says, I peeked my head into his tent myself. I didn't see any sign of a struggle.
Well,
Well,
it would
he was obviously dragged out. And what is more, Johanna said something that troubles me.
Yeah, he rolls her eyes and say, don't listen to that harlot. Those two have been at each other's throats long before I got here. All right, let's see this, whatever it is you found.
Okay, so he walks up there.
Okay. Elf, you lead the party and Thulgrim around the side of the camp, and you do indeed find a trail that looks like someone has dragged something, perhaps a body, perhaps just a large object, through the grass, and the grass very obviously comes out of the camp and carefully winds its way around the trees, heading towards the river. And Thulgrim frowns, and he turns to the lot of you and says, you lot see where this goes. I'll go grab a couple of men from the camp, just in case it's something trouble. If you find something, don't engage, wait for backup.
Wait, so is Goji's character with us now?
So can we just end on the path?
Yep, y'all can follow it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We have to find him.
All right, you follow it, and you note that it's kind of a winding path that just sort of... It looks like whatever was dragging Rooter, if that's indeed what happened, didn't take him very far. It was just being very careful to avoid the light being cast by the bonfire and carefully avoiding any path where it might have run into people. And as you follow it, you eventually find yourselves down by the riverbank, and very obviously sitting among the not deep water and the reeds is a corpse.
Goodness! Let's run up to it and see who's the poor bastard.
It becomes pretty obvious very quickly as you run up that this is Rutger Rutter himself. His corpse looks like he was dressed in some sort of sleeping clothes. He has a white linen smock on, and he's completely drenched in blood. His right arm has been completely torn off, and his shoulder has a lot of strange, savage stab marks, if for lack of a better word. And his face is oddly serene. And you notice that next to him are these large three-toed footprints that have been stamped into the mud and lead into the river itself.
Three-toe? Does any of us have any skill that could help identify what kind of creature did it, based on the footsteps and the bite marks?
Is it bipedal, the footprints?
That's impossible to tell from the footprints.
So there's
Okay,
not like
does
two sets of
anyone
footprints
have,
side by
like, a
side?
skill?
Not side by side.
Probably Famir.
Probably the elf magician's mom. Does anyone have a skill to identify something more from the body?
Nope. Does he have his key on?
Yeah,
Does
can we
he have
check
his
his?
key
Can we
on
check
him?
for the key?
Yes, he does have the key still around his neck.
Mission accomplished. Let's get paid.
But
We don't even tell them that we found. It's like, oh, we have the key. Yeah.
Can we drag the corpse back to the riverside, like out of the water?
You hear Thulgrim and a few others approaching from behind. Clearly he gathered up a group fairly quickly, and they are not far behind you guys, if you just want to wait a moment.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait for them. Sure.
All right,
If that's okay for you.
Thulgrim, a few of the Stragani men armed with various hand weapons, and Ryko come jogging down, and upon seeing the corpse, Thulgrim's mouth sets in a tight frown, and you hear a lot of gasping among the Stragani, and a lot of them start to whisper to each other in a tongue you all don't understand, but Ryko looks around and says, "It's true then! It is true that this place is cursed! The great beast of the Orshlam is here!" And he points and sort of gestures to a swamp that y'all can see on the other side of the river and said, "It has come for blood, just as Madame Vadoma said it would. The time to leave has come." And as he says that, all the other Stragani start making various signs with their hands around, sort of like how Christians will make the crucifix with their hands. The Stragani perform a series of symbols, clearly warding off the beast they're speaking of. And you can tell, and they're all kind of nodding, and you can tell from those whispering in White Reichspiel that they are all agreeing it is time to GTFO.
So, that's what I heard about from the old lady. So, she was telling the truth. I should have known, but none of you listened, obviously, as always. Well, why don't we approach Fulgrim and talk to him about the grand hunt we obviously should enroll to.
What? How about we just show him that we have the key and we can get paid?
The man was murdered. Don't you have any Oh, of course.
Yes, but that man was a bit of a scumbag now. No, wasn't he?
Getting to be a beast does not murder a beast feed.
Perhaps can we suggest that we drag his corpse back to the camp?
Before you have the chance, you hear more murmuring, and you hear a sharp woman's voice yelling at Stragani to get out of the way by Sigmar's arse. And she finally pushes her way to the front and gasps a little bit when she sees the corpse lying on the ground, but her face quickly sneers up in contempt. And she says, "So, now the dotard gets himself killed. I suppose I'm going to have to explain this to his parents, as if he hadn't already caused me enough problems. Fulgrim at this grumbles, and he turns, taking out a pipe and putting it in his mouth, and looks at her and says, "Show a little bloody respect for the dead, damn you." And she reels on him and says, "Respect! What we need here is justice." And she reaches into her belt and pulls out a purse that looks like it weighs a pretty good amount. And she shouts where all the Stragani and y'all can hear her, 10 gold crowns to the brave souls who bring me the head of the monster responsible for this. 10 gold crowns. She then steps forward and says, "I'll reimburse myself from the funds. Where's that key?" And as her eyes sort of fall on the four of you, Thulgrim immediately takes 2 steps forward and says, "Actually, I think I better hold on to the key. This is a joint operation, after all. I doubt the Rooters would be happy with their investment solely in the hands of an outsider. I know how it would make me feel if I saw someone else with my money." And he gives her a look that seems to suggest more than he's outright saying, but he doesn't speak any further. And Johanna glares at him and then back at y'all and says, "And what authority, what claim do you have over the matter, dwarf? None. Until the Rooters send someone to replace their dear departed Rutger, I'm the only one in charge here now." And you can tell there's some heavy fuming in the air between the two.
Well, while they are arguing, I nudge, wink, wink, and whisper to the rest of the companions and say, "Guys, we should really hold on to that key, huh?"
So we can speak out of earshot of them, or they can hear us.
Yeah,
you can whisper to each other, but because they're still kind of in the middle of their thing, but it won't be long before they turn their attention back to you.
Okay.
Guys,
Anna's the one with the key right now, right? Just to clarify.
I think it was you, Pone.
No, Pone, you have the key.
Oh, I have the key. Cool.
Well, I mean,
Well,
you
the
guys
woman
can
is
keep
the
it
one with
secret.
the money.
Technically, whoever has the key has the money.
Well, we have to have 2 keys, don't we?
Yes,
The dwarf
she has one of them.
Right?
No,
She
the
has
dwarf.
one in the-
Oh well,
Yeah.
yes, the dwarf has her key, but obviously it's hers. Rooter's key is kind of up in the air. You're gonna have to give it to one of them. They're not gonna let you guys have it.
Okay. Despite your feelings towards the dwarf, we keep our word. I would give the key to the dwarf.
but how do you know he's even
Bit
gonna...
biased, but okay.
He might not get us paid. And by the way, did you see? I think there is something more that they are not telling us.
By the way, y'all can debate among yourselves what you want to do with the key, but I am keeping an eye on a timer, and when it ends up, I'll have y'all make a decision.
Okay.
Okay,
Skip.
okay, cool.
I say the dwarf.
I feel like every time the dwarf has told us to keep our word, and we have, there's always some other pressing issue as to why we don't get paid. Maybe if the woman has the key, we can finally earn some coin.
Well, do you really think that this bitch is someone who is going to part her way with her gold? Hell no. Neither of them is. I say we keep the key.
Oh, we can't.
Not an option, but okay.
Be quiet. This is what my
Why don't
character
you
is
just
saying.
The girl.
That's fair. That's fair.
The girl is actually like decent looking, isn't she?
Johanna? Yeah. She's a
Cool.
little
Good enough.
angry looking, but
Cool.
Good enough for
Yeah.
me. And she's human, not a dwarf.
Don't you want to consult Gojira?
No.
I'm waiting for it. I am waiting for Goji to say something.
I just go ahead and approach the woman mid-argument and just hand her the key.
Okay. She actually reaches out and snaps it up from your hand, and she gives the dwarf, she gives Thulgrim a sharp look, and he opens his mouth, but he slowly shuts it around his pipe and grumbles while he takes a puff of it, but doesn't say anything.
I screech, treacherous! Betrayer!
Everyone looks at you.
I also look at her.
Yeah.
Johanna her face squints up. The dwarf looks just perplexed.
Well, we didn't agree as a party what to do. So, you know
At this, the dwarf very heavily rolls his eyes, and Johanna scowls and says, "It's not up to you. You work here. This isn't your enterprise. The key belongs with me."
I wasn't talking to you, lady, for starters. And second, maybe we should hurry up and go after whoever killed your boyfriend.
I fired the shots.
Johanna steps forward and her hand falls to her weapon, and she's not saying anything. She just looks really, really angry.
Well, I look angry right back at her.
She's going to glare at the lot of you, and she says, "You'll get paid. Rooter made a promise, and unlike him, I make sure that he follows through. If you want to earn further coin, by all means, track whatever did this, bring me back its head, so the Rooter family will be satisfied. That way, everybody wins."
Let's do it. Fight the beast.
Jesus.
Let's hunt the beast.
I will turn and agree to do it and waddle towards the swamp, licking my beard on the way.
There's a sizable
swamp.
river between you and the swamp.
So we have to like ford it?
No, you're gonna need a boat.
I can't swim.
How do you suggest we get across the river?
Stiegler will look at Thulgrim for a moment, and she just sort of wordlessly walks back into camp, and the Stragani immediately start heading into camp, and they literally start packing up. Like, they are, Rooter sort of nods to all of you, Raiko nods to all of you in kind of a brave, like, in a sign of, like, y'all are brave as fuck if you're going after this thing, whatever did this. And he heads back into camp, but Thulgrim sort of, scratches at his side for a moment for saying, "We got a boat you can roll across.
Okay.
It's a small one. Won't take you it won't take you far, but it'll get you across and back."
Let's do it.
Well, isn't anyone else going with us?
Thulgrim raised an eyebrow and says, "I'm not leaving that harpy here with both keys. She's likely to try and throw the chest in her wagon and be off before any of us notice. Someone's got to keep an eye on things. And the Stragani, they're not going to go within 100 yards of that swamp. Not after that." And he sort of motions his...
I thought you said he had her key.
He gave it back to her.
Oh.
I forgot to say that out loud. I said it in my head, but not out loud.
Let's get the boat from him and head to the river. Do we need to do anything for that, or?
Nope. If y'all
Okay.
if y'all want, you can head out right now.
Let's do it.
Some of the Stragani do assist the dwarf with getting...
We are exhausted. Do we want to?
Rooter's body.
Wait for the first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's probably a better idea.
That way we can recover more hit points if some of us are missing some.
If you want, you can...
Your hit points.
If you want, you can rest for the evening before you pursue.
Yeah.
It might be gone, granted, but...
Oh, that's cheap.
We should begin our
it's just-
search first thing in the morning.
Let's get the beast. Let's get him.
Well, the beast will clearly wander away.
Gojira, if that's your character's voice, you're gonna have to speak up, man. It's hard to hear you.
Really?
Yes.
For good, yeah.
Oh, for Goji.
Just Goji, yeah.
Is it better now?
I say we put it to a vote.
Okay.
Okay, so I vote we go for the beast because it might get away and it's a swamp creature, so it'll probably fucking slither away.
I too want the beast.
Okay, that's 2.
Oh boy. Well, how are we all feeling?
Good.
Are you guys all right?
And you can also use your resolve point to get rid of your fatigue condition. So if you, I mean, I have 3 of them. I don't know about you guys, but you
The
can
elf-
use that if.
The
I
high
only have
elf
one.
still looks a bit close to a walking corpse, but he's at least standing.
Okay.
Well then, I suppose we shall go.
All right, Pone, your decision doesn't matter because you're outvoted.
That's
No.
right, Elgie scum.
Though you can stay behind and tell them to screw off if you'd like.
No, I'll go.
All right.
Oh, look at the martyr.
I mean, most people probably be like, "Nah, y'all have fun."
All right, so where to now?